Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I'm here to talk about the books I hope to read for the 2020 Retelling Bingo Challenge. So I participated unofficially in the challenge last year, and I really enjoyed it. I managed to complete all the prompts. I did swap out a couple of books that I decided I didn't actually want to read, or I wasn't really in the mood for, but I did complete every challenge, and you guys know I absolutely love retellings and kind of folklore-inspired stories, and I really wanted to participate again. So I won't be like entering officially where you like track your progress and you can be entered to win prizes and everything, but I thought this would be a really fun challenge to participate in. Again, I will link the Cornerfold's website or blog post down below, which is where you can get all of the official information. And let's talk about the books I hope to read. I don't have one for every prompt, but I do have enough to complete the highest tier of prompts. I forget what the name of that is. There were just a few that I didn't have like an immediate idea for, but I may try and pick those up later. For the Own Voices prompt, I want to read Dark and Deepest Dread by Anna Marie McLemore. I can't believe I have this book in my hands. I am so excited. Anna Marie McLemore is one of my favorite authors. They do magical realism, and I believe this is their first historical fiction or historical fabulous novel. So I'm very much looking forward to this, and I don't really know a lot about it except that it's a retelling of the Red Shoes fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen, and it also covers the Dancing Plague. I forget what year that happened in, but that was like a real historical event, and I'm just really excited about this. I always love all of their books, so I'm pretty excited about that one. And next on the list is to read a Goodreads Choice Award winner, and this one I'm kind of bending the rules. Again, because I'm not officially entering, I'm kind of playing fast and loose with some of these categories, but I chose A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. You might recognize a few of these books on this list because they were also in my 2020 Reading Women Challenge video. I like to combine TBRs whenever possible, and I think it also helps give me extra motivation to read books that I've been wanting to get to anyway. So this one is not technically a Goodreads Award winner, I don't think, but I think it was like a finalist or something, and I'm gonna count it. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling I have heard absolutely wonderful things about. It also has cerebral palsy rep, and I've heard that that's done really well. I'm just very much looking forward to this. Beauty and the Beast retellings are still one of my favorite kinds of retellings to read. Kind of basic, I know, but I love them. What can I say? For the African myth or fairy tale, I have another doubled up book, and that is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I don't believe this is a retelling of a specific story, but I think it would definitely count for African myth or folklore. N.K. Jemisin, as I said in my other video, she's an author I've been really wanting to get to for a long time, and this is the series of hers that appeals to me most, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I don't know a lot about it. I've just heard fantastic things about this. I believe I first heard about this from Najiri over at Onyx Pages. I think it was a Top 5 Wednesday video that she did where she talked about this book, and it just sounded fantastic. So really excited to finally get to it. For a middle grade or graphic novel, I will be reading The Lost Frost Girl by Amy Wilson. This is about a young girl named Owl, I think. And one day she finds out that she is the daughter of Jack Frost. And I don't really know much more than that, and I don't really need to. The Jack Frost story just is something that has really intrigued me, even though it's not something I've read or seen a lot of versions of. It's just kind of been this like underlying thing that I didn't realize I still had like strong feelings about, and now I have a book about it. One of the prompts is a Jane Austen retelling, which I'm very excited about, especially since over the last year I realized that there are some Jane Austen fanfiction or JAF authors that I really love, and because before that I really only liked kind of retellings of her work, so like where it wasn't set in the time period with the same characters, but I found a few that I really enjoy, and one of those authors is Elizabeth Adams, and I think I'm going to be getting to her book The House Guest, A Pride and Prejudice vagary, and I think, let's see, let me actually read it what this one's about. And so I think in this one, Elizabeth, like she makes friends with Georgiana Darcy, and then she ends up staying at their townhouse in London, like keeping her company, and then Mr. Darcy unexpectedly comes back, and basically they have to be in the same house for 3 weeks. And forced proximity is a romantic trope that I am very particular about, but when it's done well, I absolutely love it. So really looking forward to this. I really like the scenes in Pride and Prejudice where Elizabeth is at Netherfield, so like her and Darcy are in the same house, and he just like so clearly cannot handle it. Like, I find that very endearing. For a 2020 release, I have Night Spinner by Addie Thorley. This is a wintry kind of historical fantasy retelling of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is actually an advanced reader's copy that I won from a Goodreads giveaway, which is really exciting. I just started it. I'm only like a chapter or so in, but at the time of filming this, I have officially started this one, and I'm just really interested to see how that is done. For a debut author, I have Match Me If You Can by Tiana Smith. I know very little about this one. I bought this like a year ago maybe. It's a contemporary retelling of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and that's all I really know about it. Midsummer is a Shakespeare play that I feel like it's kind of underappreciated compared to some of his other works, but I really love it, and I'm interested to see how this one does things. I've not heard great things about it. Like, I've heard very few things about it at all, but the things I have heard have not been stellar. So who knows? but I'm kind of interested. For the author duo prompt, I have The Navigator by Erin Michelle Skye and Stephen Brown. This is the second book in the Wendy, is it just called the Wendy series, I think? I read the first book last year and really loved it. I'm really, really excited about reading the second book. I believe the third one comes out sometime during 2020. For the person of color author prompt, and by the way, I haven't doubled up on any of these because I don't know if you're actually technically supposed to, but a lot of these would count for multiple prompts, like including this one, which is an author who is a person of color. But the book that I specifically chose for that is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, and I think I might actually be buddy reading this with my friend Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book, because both of us had kind of heard negative things after being really excited about it, and we both own it and we still want to try it, so we're probably going to buddy read this so that we can better motivate ourselves. And although I believe that one is also a Mulan retelling, one of the prompts is actually a Mulan retelling, and I picked a different one for that, and that is The Magnolia Sword, A Ballad of Mulan by Sherry Thomas. This is an ARC, but I believe the book has actually come out already. This one is quite short, and I don't remember hearing many things about this, so I really don't know what to expect going in. I don't even really know what the story is about besides being a Mulan retelling, so that one's kind of a wild card. But I kind of like that about this challenge, is it's a great opportunity to read things I'm already really excited about, but it's also a really nice way to kind of throw in some things I might not have picked up for a while into the mix, and sometimes those end up being huge hits. For the villain origin story prompt, I have a graphic novel, and that is Piper by Jay Asher and Jessica Freeberg, illustrated by Jeff Stokely. This is kind of a Pied Piper retelling. I don't know if this is technically a villain origin story. This might be bending the rules a little bit because I don't know if we're actually going to see the villain before they're a villain, which would make it not really an origin story, but I do kind of want an excuse to read this, and actually one of the reasons I want to read this is because I want to figure out how I feel about it, because Jay Asher is kind of a trash can of a human being. I mean, even if I really end up loving this, I don't think I would necessarily like recommend it and promote it because of not wanting to support that author personally, but if I read it, I can at least say, like, if you still own this, it's worth reading, or if it's really not good, it's like, don't even bother. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. For the Sirens or Mermaids prompt, I have Fear the Drowning Deep by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I bought this a few years ago and I have never picked it up because I heard really bad things about it. I don't know much about it except that there are mermaids, but I seem to remember liking the writing when I kind of flipped through this initially. Maybe I made that up. But yeah, I finally want to get this one read and figure out once and for all if I even like it. And then for the, what is it? Set in Space. I am being very, very loose with this prompt because I'm reading Space Opera by Catherine M. Valente. I love Catherine M. Valente. I have really enjoyed the things I have read from her so far, but this is not actually a retelling, but I'm gonna count it because I've heard this pitched as Eurovision in space. So if Eurovision retellings were a thing, that's what I would count this for. But I recognize that I'm cheating a lot with this one. And actually, I just realized what I might substitute in instead. I might just reread The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer because that is one of the only space series that I actually really, really love that is also a retelling. And they're coming out with those stunning new paperback editions, so and I'm planning to buy those anyway, so it might be a perfect excuse to reread those. So I might not even read this one, who knows. For a German myth or fairy tale, I have The Huntress of Thornbeck Forest by Melanie Dickerson. I've heard very, very good things about this fairy tale, or about this fairy tale retelling. My friend Giselle really loves it, and I really trust her taste when it comes to fairy tale retellings especially. And this is a retelling of Swan Lake and Little Red Riding Hood, I think. And the reason I'm counting it for this challenge is because the origin is a little murky, but one of the possible first inspirations for Swan Lake was a German story or a German fairy tale. So that's what I'm counting it for. For a retelling over 500 pages, I'm probably going to be getting to The Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Gratton. This is a King Lear retelling that focuses a lot more on the three sisters, or the three daughters, which is something that very much appeals to me. My friend Tuck from Badger Reads talked about this in her favorite books of the year. She really loved it, and just everything she said about it makes me really interested in picking it up. Very atmospheric and beautiful writing and world building and magic, and I feel like I'm going to really like this setting as well. So perfect excuse. This one is definitely a chunker. We'll see if it happens. For the Hades and Persephone prompt, Jocelyn actually recently reminded me that a book I'm very much interested in reading, Mythic Dreams, I think, and it's edited by Dominic Parisian, and there's a ton of different stories in there. One of them is a Hades and Persephone retelling. For a Phantom of the Opera or Les Mis retelling, I think I will be getting to Where Dreams Descend, and really all I know is that it's a Phantom of the Opera retelling with a Moulin Rouge aesthetic, and I'm already interested. For 1001 Nights retelling, I have Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the second book in the Howl's Moving Castle trilogy, and I have heard this is the least good of those three, so I don't have like high expectations, but I do want to read this one and then move on to the third book, although I know that it's not exactly, like, this is more of a companion book than a direct sequel, but I do want to still read this one. I just don't have super high expectations because I really, really loved House Moving Castle, and I've just heard that this one is disappointing. For a book featuring South American myth or fairy tales, I have Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez, and this is an Own Voices Bolivian inspired story that draws on Bolivian folklore and myths and fairy tales. This is another one where I think it's more centered on folklore than a particular story. This is one of, if not my most anticipated release of the year, so I am really, really hoping I enjoy it. I do talk about it in my most anticipated releases video, so if that is already up, I will link that, but I really can't wait to get to this one. And finally, the last prompt that I have officially chosen a book for, although as I said earlier, I might add ones on as we go, is for a King Arthur retelling. And for that one, I have The Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. I'll probably, I think I'm just going to be counting one book for this. I'm not going to read the whole series. And the first one is Oversea Under Stone. And at the time of filming this, I'm actually currently buddy reading that with Todd from Todd's Librarian. And I'm actually really enjoying this so far. I remember reading, I think this whole series when I was really young. I got it out from our library and I read it and I remember enjoying it, but I remember absolutely nothing about the plot except that it is kind of King Arthur inspired and Welsh, kind of Welsh folklore, I think, and history. So yeah, I am about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through the first book, and like I said, I'm really enjoying it so far. I have heard mixed things about that book and about the series in general, so I don't know if it gets worse later, but so far I'm having a good time. Okay, everybody, so those are the books I have on my 2020 Retelling Bingo Challenge list. I'm really excited about all of these, and the ones that I'm not super excited for, I'm using this as an opportunity to kind of force myself to read them and decide once and for all if I even want to read them, or finish them, or keep them. Which is kind of how I enjoy doing challenges. I like to have some things I'm really excited about and some things where it's Kara, read this book that has just been sitting on your shelves that you feel like you're not gonna like. Let me know if you guys are participating in this challenge, especially I think if you're not doing the official sign up. I think it's something where you could join in later in the year, which would be great because I have no idea when this video is going up. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!